Hello viewers, 4DIYers here with another tutorial video for everyone. In this particular video here, I'll be doing a demonstration of how to replace the lower front control arms on the rear suspension for a Volvo C30. This is a 2007 model, and the same procedure can also be applied to the Volvo S40, V50, and C70 models of the same generation. This video is sponsored by Auto Parts Way. They have supplied me with the control arms in order to produce this video. A link to these control arms will be included in the description below. Worn control arms will cause excessive inner tire wear, and when inspecting the bushings, you'll notice rubber deterioration, such as cracking. This car currently has 140,000 kilometers, and as far as I know, these are the original control arms. First, start by safely jacking up the vehicle and remove the rear wheel. Place a jack stand under the subframe. Using a 1/2-inch drive ratchet with a 15mm socket, remove the bolt on the wheel carrier. With the suspension relaxed, when the bolt is removed, the carrier won't spring out from its location like the top control arm. Next, using a 1/2-inch drive ratchet with the 15mm socket, remove the inner bolt. If you are having issues removing the bolts, penetrating oil can be used, and work the bolt back and forth. Using a hammer, knock the control arm out of its location, and then you can lift it out. Also make note of its orientation. Compare the old and new control arms to ensure they are the same. The car uses the same control arms for the left and right sides, just make sure they are facing in the correct direction. As mentioned earlier, Auto Parts Way has supplied me with the control arms required for the replacement, and a link to these control arms will be included in the description below. My bushings do have some mild cracking, so they are showing some signs of age as the rubber is deteriorating. Clean up the old bolts using a wire brush. If penetrating oil was used, use brake cleaner to clean that away. Apply medium-grade thread locker. Install the new control arm. Make sure the cup side faces towards the rear of the vehicle. As for the bushings, which side goes on the wheel carrier or subframe, this doesn't matter as they are the same either side. If you need to tap the control arm into place, use a dead blow hammer, which won't damage the component. You may need to adjust the wheel carrier so that the bolt hole lines up. It's easier to start with the subframe first, then finish up on the wheel carrier bolt. With these rubber bushings, they do need to be preloaded, otherwise they can have a premature failure. With the wheel in place, it is a bit tight to get a ratchet in there, so instead I placed a jack stand under the rear lower control arm mounting point, then lowered the vehicle so the full weight is on the suspension. Here's a setup I have between the two jack stands. I also have an additional jack stand under the subframe as a safety. There is a small space between the pad, so I know the weight is on the suspension. Tighten the bolts. The torque specifications for the 15mm bolts is 57 to 75 foot-pounds or 76 to 102 Newton-meters. Jack the car up again, remove the jack stands, and then reinstall the wheel. The torque specifications for the lug nuts is 80 foot-pounds or 108 Newton-meters. Moving on to the opposite side, it's the same process, just with added video angles. Again, jacking up the car safely, then remove the wheel and place a jack stand under the subframe. Loosen the bolts using a 1/2-inch drive ratchet with a 15mm socket. Remove the bolts. And then knock out the control arm. Clean up the bolts using a wire brush to remove any rust, dirt, or old thread locker. If penetrating oil was used, wash away with brake cleaner. Then apply a medium-grade thread locker. Install the control arm, first putting the bolt at the subframe in place. The control arm needs to be pulled over to the wheel carrier. Then install the bolt. While you can't get a direct view to align the hole, a mirror may be helpful for this. Then install the bolt. Don't tighten the bolts up just yet, as we need to preload those bushings. Now jack up the car, place a jack stand under the mounting point at the rear lower control arm. I still have another stand under the car as a safety. Lower the vehicle so the weight is fully on the suspension. Then tighten the two 15mm bolts. The torque specifications is 57 to 75 foot-pounds or 76 to 102 Newton-meters. Finishing up, you can now reinstall the wheel. The torque specifications for the lug nuts is 80 foot-pounds or 108 Newton meters. New videos are released every week on my channel. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, it's a huge help to me, and leave a comment below if you found this tutorial helpful. Don't forget to follow my social media pages such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to keep up to date with my latest projects. And if you're not a subscriber, be sure to also hit that subscribe button. Thank you for watching.